Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Monday Motivation Spotlight. I'm Lesley Kaplan. Welcome you here again. Another challenging week for Am Yisrael, but this time, Baruch Hashem, we had a high as well when we came out of Shabbat, or for those of you that heard the news on Shabbat, with the wonderful rescue of 4 of our hostages. So it was wonderful to suddenly see a little bit and have a little bit of a breathe and a hakala compared to what we're having every single week. So why am I mentioning that? For those of you that are new to this program, this Monday Motivation Spotlight was started as a result of the war to motivate and inspire us, and at the same time, to highlight exceptional people and wonderful personalities, individuals, businesses, and organizations in Israel. So what do we have to you today? Today we have our first couple, which is amazing. They're setting the rough, as they say. So I'm welcoming, if you know of any other power couples, it could be good for the show for you to share with me at some stage, or we can have them too. And before I introduce our wonderful couple, I would just like to thank ACI, our co-hosts, and also our sponsor for the month, Lali's Flower Boutique in Jerusalem. So how do we work? You stay muted. We're going to hear wonderful stuff, and I'll introduce in just a moment our special guests for the day. And if you have any comments, questions, feel free to write it in the chat. And at the same time, if you're a business owner, although this is not an official networking group, feel free to write details about your business in the chat. All right, so without further ado, let me highlight and spotlight our guests for the day, Marci and David Eskenazi, who I knew very briefly a couple of years ago when we both lived in Maalot, and they've now moved to the north in Maalot. And I'd love for them to share part of their story of what made them decide to move to the north. So who are Marci and David Eskenazi? They're going to share in more detail, but very briefly, they're assisting Olim pre and post Aliyah by forming the Aliyah Network, which is a WhatsApp group, a Facebook group, and we'd love to hear more about it. And it's amazing that it's not just pre-Aliyah to get people here, but also providing support, questions, answering questions, and information post-Aliyah. And Marci is also a realtor in the north. So if anyone's looking to buy in any of the communities in the north, and she helps people find their community, so she is your contact. All right, guys, so you've obviously worked out who's going to be talking first. So I'm going to remove my spotlight, and you're going to be big there on the screen. I know a lot of people, when they first come, they're big. They're like, wow, we're so big on the screen. So thank you for joining us. We're delighted to have you today. Take it away, inspire us, share with us with whatever comes to mind.
First of all, thank you, Lesley, for having us this morning. Good morning to everyone. We are truly excited to be here and share with you a little bit about what we do. David and I, we have a group called the Aliyah Network. It is a support group for pre, post, and just curious about Aliyah. We have a Facebook group and a WhatsApp group, and the WhatsApp group is really where a lot of great information is shared. But I'm going to start with you a little bit about how we even got here and how we made Aliyah. Aliyah was something I have always kind of dreamed about, something I've always wanted to do for many years. We are a very typical American family. David's from the West Coast in Seattle. I'm from New York, and Seattle boy, it was a little more difficult to get him out to Israel.
It was so difficult, but yeah.
So we were living in New York. We had 2 kids at that point. We spoke about Aliyah. David liked the idea, but was not ready for it at all. We continue to live in New York very comfortably. For Jews, you have everything you need at your fingertips for a religious Jew. And some time passed. We took a pilot trip to Israel. We traveled everywhere. We traveled to Maalot, and we traveled up north. And at the time, we absolutely loved the north, and we thought to ourselves, making Aliyah to the north, that just sounds a little bit
too much for New Olim, potentially. We wanted to stay somewhere closer to the center. So
we started off at Maalot, but before we got there, after our pilot trip, we came back to New York. Again, David's like, it was a nice trip. We know what we want to do. We're not ready to make Aliyah. some of our friends were moving out from Far Rockaway to West Hempstead. And David said, let's go look in West Hempstead. Let's go check out some homes there. I said to him, if we're going to move, like, why do we have to have that middle move from where we are now to another home to Israel? Can we just go straight to Israel? Well, sure enough, one day, it was June.
You're right. Maybe this is where I can come in. So basically, I was working on a room downstairs in our basement, doing a lot of renovation. And I was thinking to myself, we just do little changes to the house, maybe reconfigure it such that we can get a couple rentals such and such that maybe we can make this Aliyah work. And as I'm sanding down the drywall seams that I had plastered, the idea occurred to me, and I yelled up to Marci, who was on the floor above us. I said, Marci, start the paperwork. We're making Aliyah. Just like that.
And
Wow.
I was shocked. I said, you sure, David? Because we're just going to lose that deposit. And he's like, start the paperwork.
Start the paperwork.
It was June, and there I was filling out the paperwork. And I said to myself, I don't want to be the new Olim in January, take my kids to start school in the middle of the school year. We got to get there in September. So we pushed from June. We got everything done till the very, very last second, and we made it here. Okay, the kids missed the first 2 days of school, but we made it here in September.
They were installing the new carpets in our house the day before our flights. We just down to the wire. And Marci was a powerhouse. I was doing all the physical stuff, this and that, but really all the paperwork. It's the amount of hashgacha, the amount of providence that guided us along to be able to make that date and to actually get on a plane on August 28th.
It was incredible.
And I know that today that must sound completely absurd with all the hoops and things that are happening. But yeah, we did make Aliyah in like just about 2.5 months.
I mean, it was a little easier then. That was pre-COVID, where you could actually go down to the county clerk's office and get your apostilles done. And it was a lot easier, but still it was a lot of work to do. And, we did. I just, I tell people it's possible. If you want to do and you want to push for it, you can do it.
You can make it happen.
So we made Aliyah with 3 kids at the time. We moved to Maalot, which was amazing. It was a really beautiful place. We had a baby there. He's our Sabra, who is now 9 years old. And it was nice. While we lived in Maalot, we did think about the fact that, we can't rent forever. We need to buy. I did ask my landlord a few times. And we had a beautiful house. I asked her a couple of times, can we buy the house? She told me never.
I had a tremendous attachment to the place also.
And then we felt like it was time for a change. COVID happened.
Well, before COVID, we were looking all over the place. We went all over the Merkaz. We went to places in the Gush. And just nothing really felt right. And I said to Marci, I said, remember when we did our pilot trip, we went up north, let's just check out Maalot.
So I completely forgot about Maalot until David reminded me. And we drove up here and I said, it speaks to me. I'm kind of like that emotional kind of person. It has to speak to me. It could look great on paper, but I got to feel it. So I felt it here. We got here and it was just kind of nice. It's a smaller community. There's probably about 50 families in total, English-speaking families in total in Maalot. But you go to shul, you actually do hear English, and people are surprised. This little town up north, you hear a nice amount of English. But it is really nice here. David, again, he's from Seattle, so he enjoys the green view. In Maalot, we have the gorgeous desert view, and here we have the gorgeous view of the Galil. So it is really nice.
We're all also just 20 minutes from the beach, which is also very nice.
I love that part.
And
20 minutes from the beach. We're near hiking and trails and nature and beauty. It is a really nice place here.
So a lot of people think north and then they immediately think now during the war, like what's going on there? Can you just share before you move on just how it's affected you? I know Baruch Hashem, it hasn't been as bad as some of the other places.
So I could say that, first of all, Maalot is just about 8 kilometers from the Lebanese border, and the evacuation line is 6 kilometers. So we're not, at that point where we're being evacuated, obviously, but rumor has it that that could change. And as we all know, the north is heating up. What's really crazy is that we hear the hazakot from all around Maalot. But Maalot itself has not been a significant target to this point, which kind of bothers me, to be honest. Like, maybe they're saving the best for last type of thing. Who knows? But so far, we've only had a handful of hazakot in our area.
I mean, we do hear a lot of artillery and outbound, which we know it's like comforting, I guess, in some way. Okay, it's from Israel. It's not from Lebanon. Like last night on a WhatsApp chat, someone said, did anyone hear those 2 big explosions?
Sometimes they shake the windows.
Yeah, but we know it's from us. My kids are actually more afraid of running into a wild boar at night than a rocket right now. Right. So life it goes on as normal. And kids are going to Bnei Akiva. They're walking home late at night by themselves. Kids are in school. Kids are in the park.
I mean, I could say back in, we did leave Maalot in the first week of November because it just felt wrong being here. We went to Jerusalem for over a month.
Yeah.
Because it felt. We also had a scare early on. I don't know if you guys know or remember back in the beginning of the war. There was like an alarm that looked like hundreds and hundreds of these guys were coming in on aerogliders, right? That scared the heck out of me. And
it was the beginning of the war. We really didn't know what was up or down. One of our kids was really traumatized from that scare.
Yeah. I was traumatized too.
But after being away for about a month, we all just wanted to go back home.
Yeah,
it was really nice. School started up again, and things were, so to speak, normal. They were pretty much normal.
Tell us now a bit more about the Aliyah Network, what you do, how you got to form it.
Sure.
So back in December of 2019, we took a trip to Seattle to visit family. And every morning, when David would go to Minyan at shul, he would run into his old friends and he would be bombarded with questions. Meanwhile,
people considering Aliyah for themselves.
I'm ready at home with the kids. We're going to go out, do a little sightseeing, do a little something.
And I'm late.
And he's late every morning because he's being bombarded with questions.
Right. So basically it was frustrating for me because the kind of questions that are asking, Marci's the paperwork person. I'm like, I don't know what I am, but I'm doing other things. And I didn't have the answers to a lot of the questions, and frustrated me because I just knew that there's so many people in Israel that theoretically, if they're just in one place, they could answer these questions. And I didn't have that thought at the beginning, but that was really what started, I guess, the thought of the network. So what happened was when you're on the way back home, I got a call from a shul to be part of a board meeting for the shul in Maalot to do some fundraising for the 2020 upcoming year. And I mentioned this idea, well, why don't we just put together a bunch of our people, maybe, I don't know, 50 people who can answer questions. This way we go to donors in the state and, maybe we could, help them out and they can help us out, and it'd be kind of a mutual sort of beneficial sort of situation.
Which that didn't actually turn out that way. I mean, that was the original thought. But then David decided to just push and create a group. He got on the phone and he called 50 people that he knows
for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks and said, please join my WhatsApp group.
It wasn't begging.
But you know what it's like when somebody asks you to join a WhatsApp group.
Right.
You have to suggest it and say, I'm leaving it here for one.
It was like trying. It was like trying to start a fire in the wind, getting things to start something going. I just pressed really hard to get 50 people to commit to such an idea. And then COVID hit.
And David said to me, I think this is the end of it. COVID hit. He's like, I said, David, I think you're wrong. I think COVID is what's going to push things forward. And it really did. Those 50 people some have stayed, some have left on the group, but from that we've grown to almost 400 on our WhatsApp group, and our Facebook group is now almost 4,000 people. On our WhatsApp, we get a lot of questions from people, yes, they get all the help they need making Aliyah through Nefesh B'Nefesh, but on our WhatsApp group, they're getting more, personalized questions answered, or questions like related to experience. Has anyone done such and such? Does anyone know?
Well, my washing machine fits.
Right. Will my washing machine fit? Does anyone know anyone who lives in this location?
Right.
I mean, and we get a lot of private messages thanking us,
Right.
telling us that they've made Aliyah, that they are making Aliyah, and they no longer feel alone. They feel like they have their community. We are a virtual community, and it is a really special feeling to know that you've actually kind of assisted someone in their Aliyah in a way that we feel like we haven't even been there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. And as Lesley mentioned at the outset of this meeting, it's not just about making Aliyah. It's also a group that seems to be existing post Aliyah. We hope to someday get together, right? To have a real live event where we can actually see the people that we've, like Ruth Ethan's here, to meet them in person. But yeah, no, we're a virtual group, and people are very much, together there. So it's really fantastic. Something that we thought that the need for a global Aliyah with so many bubbles in the world, so many pins and prickly things that are out there. Who knows what the future is, but we're always longing for the future that Am Yisrael could have. And just we have the technology to tie as many people as we can together. So that's the idea of the Aliyah Network, to be able to do just that. And thank God.
Yeah, it is hard to make Aliyah. It's hard to make it alone. Like they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a network to make Aliyah. Yeah, like I said, we made Aliyah. We have very little family here, if any. And most Olim, or many of them, I should say, don't have family. Sometimes the Israelis will ask us, why do the Americans always hang out together when everyone's like going home? That's because this is our family now. This is who we have. We have each other, and we support each other. And that's what we want you to know. When someone's making Aliyah, they don't have to do it alone. We're here for them. There's a community for them. They will make friends and connect, and it's easier done together.
Together. Absolutely.
Right. And you're also adding a very personal side to it, besides the wonderful organizations. Also NBN and ACI is a fabulous Klita counselor. But as you say, the type of questions that are being asked here is that it's very more personal, and they're connecting not only with an organization, but other people that have been there, done it, or are doing it at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's incredible. The biggest problem we're having today with the Aliyah Network WhatsApp groups is that like hundreds and hundreds of messages that are coming in on a daily basis. And sometimes people go one-on-one and they have a conversation that goes on and on. They pontificate about their greatest hopes about the Jewish future, et cetera, et cetera. So we are having a problem that we're trying to fix, which is to be able to really siphon out the practical elements of Aliyah from some of the theoretical points as well. But it's a good problem to have, and we welcome it. We will figure it out.
Exactly. And you mentioned you have two separate WhatsApp groups, right? You want to just mention the difference so people can know and can join accordingly?
So as David said, we've been getting a lot of chatter on the group, and people are really enjoying it. But there are those who come on strictly for Aliyah purposes. And, within WhatsApp, you can create communities and divide your groups. So we've now split it to, the Aliyah Network, where you can really just chat about anything, and the Aliyah Network practical tips and advice, that's where if you really just want to talk about Aliyah, you can stick to that and, just strictly ask questions. Although I find that people are doing it on both groups.
Well, can I say also, Lesley, maybe as a creative group yourself, you might know that, you want to keep the ship straight.
Right.
You want to, keep it straight. And in the beginning, there's a lot of jostling, a lot of maneuvering to do that. And it's not always easy, but the Aliyah Network ship is so heavy now that it sort of stays straight, even though we're loosening up quite a bit on some of these earlier restrictions because of the situation that the world's in. That we do allow it to go in various directions. And maybe that's a little frustrating, but there's nothing more satisfying to us than we get a private message from somebody who we never hear about, who never chimes up, who says, by the way, the group has been so helpful for the past few years, and we're making Aliyah, we're so excited, and thank you so much. So that those those are the folks that we're really doing this for. And it's really exciting. It's not just our groups in a sense. It's like everybody's in a way.
Right. Like we're not the ones answering all the questions. I can't answer anything about that, what goes on in Gush Etzion or Modi'in or, so it is a community group where people all get together and just offer their own help and advice.
Right.
Right.
There's a few people we notice here that are on the group, and they're all people who contribute all the time. So that's the idea. And we're looking forward to continue to expand what we have. We still believe that the power of the Aliyah Network is still, not percolating, still bubbling up from the surface. We're still young, 4 years now, but we still think that there's quite a bit that we're going to be able to do, and we have some plans to do just that. So we're excited.
And now
Fabulous.
I just want to say that now that with all that's going on in the world, we are getting a lot more questions on the group. We're getting people joining. We're getting people asking us, can you please add my friends to the group? They're living here and there, and they're really considering Aliyah for the first time. And it really is, it's an amazing thing. I mean, we've kind of assisted people making Aliyah. Back to the original start of the group when David was in Seattle at Minyan answering questions, that family has made Aliyah.
That's right. That's actually true. The very guy who was so frustrated about it, he actually just made Aliyah. So yeah, the full circles are starting to happen today. It's fantastic. Lesley, I think you're on mute.
Yes. I needed to cough, so I muted myself for a second. Yes,
No
I was just going to say, I mean, we're not done yet, but it's a real zchut that that you're helping so many people make Aliyah, and even once they're here, just settling and staying and keeping them in Israel. So we're not done yet, but how do people join your WhatsApp groups? Through the Facebook group, then they'll get the links?
Can we put it in the
Or
chat?
are you able to post it here, the link? Do you have it?
I sent it to you. I sent it to your WhatsApp. So if you just open
okay.
Yeah.
All right, no problem. So I'm not going to share it here, but anyone, because I don't have my WhatsApp open on the screen,
Okay.
otherwise it beeps and makes noises while I'm doing the recording. So anyone that wants it can speak to me or message me to get it, or alternatively join your Facebook group, and there you do post the links for the WhatsApp group as well.
Mm-hmm. Or they can look us up on Facebook as well and just private message us, and we're happy to share the link.
And you're happy to share. Amazing. Marci, for the couple of minutes that we have left, and we may have more time for more too, tell us a bit more about what it's like working as a realtor in the North. Which communities do you work with? How do people get to hear about you, and vice versa? How you get to hear about them?
So we live in Maalot, which is the Western Galil, and I service areas within the Western Galil, Maalot and surrounding areas. I feel very passionate about bringing Jews to the North, bringing Jews to the Galil. And many people don't realize that the Jews are actually the minority here. The Arabs are the majority. They are Christian Arabs. And I do feel a lot safer walking around the Galil than I do in Jerusalem. But nonetheless, they're not Jews. And as peaceful as they may be, I really do feel passionate about bringing Jews here. And with that being said, homes are more affordable. I mean, I hear all the time people are looking for a place where they can have a yard and 4 bedrooms. And, what I like to say all the time is for the price of an apartment in Beit Shemesh, you can get a private house in the North. And there's something for every budget here, starting under $1 million shekels to private standalone homes. And you can find what you're looking for. Communities are growing. More and more people are inquiring about the North.
The great Israeli frontier, no question about it.
Right. And I'm sure people are also buying things to rent out as Airbnbs. Am I right?
Yes, sometimes people are doing that. Yes, it's a little complicated. People at first think it's a fantastic idea, but there's a lot of upkeep for an Airbnb.
Right.
But yes, definitely investment properties and, homes that they want to live in, definitely.
Amazing. All right. So with a couple of minutes that we have left, if you can just share any, last thought that you want to share, David, Marci, about the Aliyah Network, about living in Israel, anything that comes to mind, any tips, stories, anything you want.
Sure. So I want to share that often, we hear a lot of Aliyah questions. What's it going to be like? And there's a lot of Aliyah inspiration. And I try to be realistic about Aliyah. it is hard. And I tell people, you will go through your ups and downs, but just weather the storm and you'll come out like sailing smoothly. You can do it. We got to be realistic about it when making Aliyah. It's like moving to any new place. We are living the dream. It just takes time to get there.
Right. And I guess from my perspective, I'm always thinking about like this bigger picture. I can't help myself, I indulge in my fantasies about the future, about what could be here. And, today we're seeing a lot of these signs that, Am Yisrael has the ability to continue to grow, and to continue to develop, and to continue to become stronger. As unfortunately, some other places that, we'd rather not talk about are becoming not so much so. And that's very hard to see. But, as we're living through these days, we think that, Aliyah is going to be an answer for many, many Jews around the world.
This is home. This is home for Jews. No matter where you are in the world, you can always come back home.
Right. And what we can do together is astounding. It's just many of us don't even know it yet. But I think that there will be a day that we all will feel that very personally and very much in our lives. And so we look forward to that. We look forward to continue to see that grow and to develop.
Right, absolutely. You are so inspiring, and you are so inspiring to Olim. And I'm so happy. And you can always remember that you were our first power couple on the Monday Motivation Spotlight. And I just wanted to say too, is that, and I say this to many Olim as well, like in the old country, you also had bad days, so it doesn't mean, yes, we're all, positive and inspired about making Aliyah. And it doesn't mean, as you correctly said, that everything is going to go right and that we won't have challenges. But as I said, I think people forget that in the old country, we had bad days too, and there were challenges too, and bureaucracy too. Yes, there are additional challenges that we have living in our borders of Eretz Israel. But despite that, I still believe that this is like an amazing country to live in, the quality of life that we have here, the relationships that we form, that there's just nothing compared to living in Eretz Israel, even when we're in the middle of a war. So I think many, many people will agree with that. So, ladies and gents, we've come to an end of another Monday Motivation Spotlight. Thank you so much again to Marci and David Eskenazi. Join the Aliyah Network, their Facebook group, their WhatsApp groups. It's amazing. You get lots of tips and information. And I look forward to seeing you next time. I'm Lesley Kaplan. Thank you again to our host, ACI co-hosts, and of course to our sponsors, Lali's Flower Boutique in Jerusalem. Next week on the Monday Motivation Spotlight, we have our friend Linda Gradstein from Jerusalem. Many of you know her. Linda's an amazing personality, so make sure you join us. And if you'd like to rewatch this recording or to share this with anybody else, it will be available shortly today on YouTube as well as Spotify. Thank you again, Marci and David, and Am Yisrael Chai. May we have a safe week, a positive week, and looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.